Alrighty, hello everybody. Welcome back to another one of my interviews here on Drip Talk with Blake Roberts. Today I have a very special guest with me. He is no other than a former pro wrestler, a WWE developmental wrestler from 2022 to 2023. He's also a former college football player, and he was in the 2022 NFL Draft Diamond Prospect. He is a current flag football coach, public speaker, and behavior specialist for special needs and much more. He is no other than Kevin Ventura Cortes, so we will get him on in here, and then we'll start on with the interview.
What's up, Blake? Thanks for having me, my man. I'm super excited to get after it, and I just appreciate everything you're doing. It's a great thing you got going on, man. I'm excited.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you taking your time to do this. All right, so the first thing what I want to cover is, what are you doing nowadays after your time in WWE? What is some of the things that you're doing now?
Right. It's just to name a few. I'm a behavior specialist, just like you mentioned. I run this is my first year running a nonprofit for flag football community. I think the best thing I could just summarize it, I'm just giving back to the communities, trying to be a positive male role model, trying to be a good positive impact for the communities and for kids. And my passion has always been to serve others and serve the younglings and serve as a public figure, but in a good, positive way. So I guess after leaving WWE, I took my hat with me and just put it in different areas. I kind of do a lot of things, and those were just to name a few. I have a lot of exciting projects that I do now, a lot of exciting projects that are up and coming. Man, I just don't stop. So the biggest thing is just bridging communities and serving others with positive light. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's great to get the positive things out to other people that probably need it and just, enlighten them, So that's great what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
All right. So to get into the wrestling aspect of things, when did you start doing wrestling and what made you want to fully get into it?
I would say that the pro wrestling was never the dream. It was never the goal that I was chasing after. It just happened to be an opportunity that came at the right time, at the right place. I was coming towards the end of my football career, and obviously NFL was the goal, was always the vision, was always something I was striving for and working for, with my entire career. I was blessed to go in different routes, different avenues, and my journey just suddenly had to come to an end. And, when one door closes, another one opens. And, thank God, something like pro wrestling and WWE, when they're getting involved with collegiate athlete, I was blessed to be one of them. So I think that's where it kind of came from. And, the story was written from there.
Right. And you started at the SummerSlam tryouts in 2022. So how did you find out about that? And what made you decide that was your time or year to do the tryout for that?
It's a funny story. It started with the actual email. I opened up my emails one day, and I was with the NFL Diamond Prospects, like you mentioned earlier. Yeah. I had a CGS. It's called CGS Collegiate Gridiron Showcase. So it was in a small little showcase for smaller schools and like an all-star game. And, just doing interviews with, Diamond Ball and then getting ready for the NFL, I came across an email saying that WWE was going to start recruiting, collegiate players. I'm like, there's no way. This is fake. This is spam. Like, what is this? You know what I mean? There's no way.
Right, yeah.
What? I was like, all right, it doesn't hurt to just register just in case. And, I was like, I had long hair at the time. I was in shape. I was like, you know what? Let me just put my name out there, see what happens. And sure enough, I got a call. One of their agents, they're like, hey, you want to come to a tryout? I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I was like, I don't got money. They're like, nope, it's free. We fly you out. You got a place to stay. You got food covered. You just come out, do your thing. And if we like you, we'll sign you. I was like, what? Hell yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, you get all of that. Free travel, food, place to stay. Who wouldn't? Definitely WWE, a big thing. But what was it like for you getting to pick WWE over NFL? Was it a hard choice?
It was the only choice. So when I was going to go into the NFL, it was during the time period that COVID had happened. So unfortunately, any kind of aspirations to play in the NFL kind of got cut short, or that door was closed very early on. a lot of mini camps that was my only avenue to get into the NFL. They restricted it at the time because of COVID protocols. So, like I said, during that time period, I had the choice to maybe try to get back into a mini camp, maybe keep pursuing football, or I can go to something that's brand new, kind of guaranteed, and kind of something where, I could be a big shark. You know what I mean? So I was like, well,
Yeah.
I could use my size, I could use my charisma. I had theater background, and I gave it a go, and I kind of loved the idea of being able to be everything that I dreamed of, everything that my story, be able to share my story. So that's kind of, I did the tryout, and I actually had 2 tryouts. That's another story. When I first went to the very first one, I was injured at the time, and then they had brought me back for a second one, and that's when I had time to prepare and kind of be a standout at that time as well in Nashville. So I had 2 tryouts.
Wow. That's awesome that they gave you that second chance to do that. I mean, not a lot of people get that second chance at doing that, and so that's pretty awesome.
Right. Yes, sir.
So there's this video that you got told by Triple H that you were getting offered to start training to become a WWE wrestler. What was it like getting told by Triple H face to face? I mean,
yeah, it was. You can see it. I was speechless. It was a priceless moment that I'll never take for granted. I'll never forget, and especially because that one little video and that one moment in time made an impact for others to be inspired. But at that time, when it happened to me, I was one of the very last people to go in to get those news. So I wasn't sure where it was going to go. It was just a buildup of anticipation. All my peers that got called to be stay behind after the tryouts, you have no idea what they're going to tell you. They could be like, yes, no, come back. And I was one of the last ones. So the buildup of emotion and like nervousness, anxiety, but also just excitement because I know I had killed it.
Yeah.
To receive that news, it was not even just Triple H. It was a whole palette of executives. So I was like, it's intimidating. You know what I mean? Going into a room full of people just staring at you, and they just have this blank face, and they're about to sell you on something. And it was just amazing because it was a moment of realization and validation that, hey, you did it. You made it. We see you deserve this opportunity, and we want to see where you can take this potential. So to me, I was like extremely blessed, and get to carry that moment with me forever, and share it with others.
Yeah. I mean, so that's big for you. And you mentioned a little bit earlier about cutting your hair. What made you decide to cut that long hair off?
It was time for a new leaf for me, honestly. It's a saying that hair carries energy and it carries weight, or trauma, whatever it is. And I felt like I did carry a lot of that energy with me throughout my journey. And there was a lot of highs, don't get me wrong, and a lot of cool opportunities that came about my journey. But there was also a lot of lows, whether it's like relationships, failures, shortcomings, adversity, you name it. And when I had cut my hair, it was more of a staple of maturity, more of a staple of like, hey, it's time to start a new foundation because I got released from the WWE. And when you get released, no one prepares you for that. No one, it's abrupt, nowhere. And you spend your whole time and your whole life trying to chase that validation as an athlete to get it taken away from you. It's like a whole identity shift. So you're like, whoa, who am I? Like, what do I do now? Where do I go from here? So I unfortunately had to go through that realization of a new identity shift. So I was like, well, I'm going to start a new one. And it's going to be off of community and what I can go back to based on things I already love and what I'm good at. And that's being a nonprofit director working with special needs. And then right now I'm growing my hair back. So I'm trying to grow it back again, It's a new energy. It's a new flow. It's a mature version of myself. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I have long hair, and I'm getting it chopped off in the end of July because it's just a lot.
It's high maintenance. It's honestly high maintenance. All the hairs on, I'm not gonna lie, it's on your butt crack sometimes. You gotta like take care of it and put all this product. It's a lot.
Yeah, that's what I have to do. I mean, shower, I have to wash it twice, and then I have to put all the product in it, and then it's just a lot to do all of that, and so So after WWE, what what made you decide that you didn't want to do wrestling anymore and go into a different side of things and not go into like the indies or just wrestling in general?
Yeah, I think my thought process was a little bit different in that aspect. I could have went back to the indies and continue to pursue it because I did have potential in that world. But to me, it was a false potential that wasn't me. At the end of the day, it wasn't my dream to become a wrestler. It wasn't something I was extremely passionate about. It was something cool and a new opportunity, but the lesson I learned from there, I already had received it. You know what I mean? And the thing was, for me, my body is kind of like, it has gone through hell and back. You know what I mean? So a lot of people don't know behind the scenes. When I had first went in, so my very first tryout, I couldn't do the physical aspect of things because I had a blown hamstring from my pro day, right? So I couldn't do all the wrestling movements. I couldn't get in the ring as much as I wanted to. So I had to rely on charisma. I had to rely on promos, which was good enough for a second tryout. Okay, so then I get into this training mode. I start knowing what I have to do based on what I've seen. I prepare for the tryouts, and I kill it, physical, promos, just based on what I already know. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident. I go get ready to leave to the WWE. I don't get cleared day one because I have this rare condition on my neck. It was called cervical stenosis, which is like I was losing atrophy on my shoulders. Could not lift 5 pounds over my shoulder. So I was losing muscle mass out of nowhere. It was bizarre. So I fell behind 3 months, and like physically my body was telling me that it's coming to a close end. And like I already had back problems since I was like 17 years old. So like my whole body was just like, do you want to go through hell, or do you want to be a father someday and be healthy and be around and coach kids? So it was like a physical decision. It was a mental decision. And also, like, as you know, WWE, it's a lot of characters and a lot of egos and a lot of, you have to be a part, and it's special what they do. But for me, I was losing my touch with reality. So that was like the biggest decision for me.
Right. I mean, getting injuries so early on, I mean, not knowing what definitely down the road will get you. I mean, down the road, injuries after injury will definitely cause even worse. And like you said, you wanted to do more of what you wanted to do. So be free out there. So So there was that moment that you were telling your family on the bus after getting signed, and then Kalani Jordan came up to you and like hyped you up behind you. What was that moment like for you?
Oh, that's my girl right there. That's my homegirl. That whole class was it was so special, man. Like, people don't see all the hard work people put to get that moment. And, it's special because it's like a lot of people dream to be in those moments. A lot of people desire to be in that, you know what I mean? So for us to even get that opportunity and go through an experience together, that's all it was. In that moment, it was an experience that she was able to validate, because it was emotions that maybe she felt through me, where it's like, we made it, we did it, and we did it together. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure when she called her family to tell her the news, I don't think she imagined herself being a champion as fast as she is now. You know what I mean? So she's killing it. She's dominating. Shout out to her, but shout out to like the whole Nashville crew. They are kicking butt and like making statements, and that goes to show like all their hard work and dedication to their craft and passions. You know what I mean? So I'm like rooting for all of them, and it was an amazing experience that I'll never take for granted.
Right. And like you mentioned, Kalani Jordan, the championship, I mean, she's doing great things now. They pushed her big time. And I mean, she's still got a long journey ahead of her. You never know. Main roster.
Right.
So.
She'll be there soon enough. You'll see. She's special for sure. And she's got she's got Carmelo right by her side, and those two are going to be, powerhouse for now and for decades and years to come. So I'm rooting for both of them. Like, they're amazing and genuine people, but even, they're just amazing superstars all around. Definitely.
What is one memory and or match of yours that you'll never forget from your time in WWE? You didn't really have many matches, but like maybe if you had like a memory or anything.
There's a lot of memories, and a lot of it comes down to the relationships that I built with people. Oro Menza was one of my best friends, or he is my best friend. And that was something that it was like an unspoken rule where athletes and superstars kind of bumped heads in the very beginning. So I kind of broke that mold and I believe was one of the first to, break those barriers and build relationships with my people. And then being able to go into his world, because that's an art he took as an art form, because he'd been working his whole life through the indie scene. So it was something I got to appreciate and train with him in the ring. I think a moment that I remember very clearly, what's it called? Imperium had come into the PC one day, and they were training behind the scenes away from everybody else. And they allowed me for 30 minutes to take an ass beating. Right when I was first coming back from injury, they allowed me 30 minutes to just take an ass beating. And I had no knowledge, no technique, had no idea how to wrestle. I just took an ass beating.
Right.
And they said, just sell everything. So here I am, just selling everything, taking chops, taking slams. They're tagging in, tagging out, and just beating me up for 30 minutes straight. But I think by doing so, I earned their respect to say, hey, this guy can go, you know what I mean? And that to me was like validating, where I was like, I'll take this ass beating all day, because it's humbling. You know, it's where you got to know where you start to know where you want to go. So I think that was one of the awesome moments that I had very early on.
Oh yeah, definitely. Getting in, I mean, they were pushing you into the business, showing you what it was like, you know. So being green. And
being green. I was super green. Super green.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, I'm 6'5", but a lot of the dudes at the PC, they made me look small. So like, you know, I went on Raw one time, and I was on a tag team with Big Body Javi, and they just threw me around like a rag doll. So, you know, those guys made me feel small. And that was also very humbling, but it's also like, this is kind of cool, because, you know, you get to put respect for the business and what those guys do day in and day out, and put, you know, what they put their bodies through. And not to mention all the coconut shows and the traveling, being away from their families. Like, that thing is such it's an art, it's a beauty in its own, but people don't understand the work behind the scenes. It's a different ball game.
Oh yeah, of course. And talking about your match on Raw, what was it like getting told that you were going, not just because you didn't really have many matches on NXT, and getting told that you, out of everybody, was going to have that match on Raw with Javier against Indus Shears? So what was that like for you?
It was so crazy, because I was just finishing a workout, and when you're in the PC, you never know who's calling, and you're always on alert. So when the phone call comes from an unknown number, your heart just drops. You're like, oh man, I'm getting fired. This is it. And I was with my boy Oro, and I was like, dog, I'm getting fired. This is, look at this. Like, what do you think? Should I answer it? I'm a hide. He's like, no, just answer it. So I answer it, and they tell me, hey, this is so-and-so from HR. We're going to be scheduling you for episode on Raw. Make sure you take care of your details. My heart literally sank to my stomach, and like, I just couldn't believe the news, because you don't know you're going to go you just know you're going to Raw. So you're like, am I going backstage? Am I just going to go watch? I didn't know I was going to have a match until like the very last second, right? So I'm like, I don't even have gear at this point. I have no gear. I have nothing to do. I don't know what I'm going for. So you just hope for the best, expect the worst. And just the blessing to get the phone call, and being green and being new was another one of those moments where, like, this is Triple H telling you, like, we see you, we want you. And it was really cool for me. Like, I told my mom again and my family, I'm like, yo, this is God's blessing. You deserve it. Just keep going. You know, there's a lot of emotions that go in there, you know?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, doing that. So who was your favorite wrestler you got to work with or against, or just backstage in general, getting to hang out with?
I always say number one was Oro. That was my ride buddy. We were coconut show buddies, always riding shotgun. That dude is the most hilarious dude I've ever met in my life. You know what I mean? And he got to teach me, but also like keep it real with me and kept me in check, because, you know, obviously I'm a young buck and I'm green and I have all these expectations, and he called me delusional. So he always brought me back to reality. But I think working backstage, you know, I got to wrestle Joe Gacy a little bit, which was cool. Joe Gacy was awesome. Man, I don't even know. I think I always loved I did coconut shows mainly. I was never aired on NXT, but I did some coconut shows, and I got to be on a couple Royal Rumbles. Coconut shows, which was kind of fun, kind of cool. But like I just love always learning from new people and new techniques because everyone is so many different sizes. So
Yeah.
I think just being able to have those opportunities, like I can't name just one off the bat, you know?
Oh yeah, of course. Definitely I mean, a year doesn't seem long, but definitely being there every, what was it? What Tuesday, right?
Right. Every Tuesday. Yep.
Yeah, every Tuesday, and sometimes like you on main roster. I mean, every memory that you made on every show. I mean, it's hard to keep just
Right.
one.
Right.
Who was one wrestler from during your time there that you wish you could have had a match against?
Oh, that's a good question. You talking about main roster, NXT all time, or just who I met there? What are you asking here?
You know, NXT or main roster when you were there.
When I was there, I definitely would have loved to wrestle Oro Menza. That's just because he's my boy. I would have loved to wrestle him so I could show him that I could kick his ass. Um, I definitely would have loved to wrestle Ilya Dragunov. That dude
Ooh,
is
yeah.
awesome. That dude is awesome. Another close buddy of mine, I would say. He's very particular, very special, very unique in his approach to the art form. So I think I would have loved to experience that. And then like main roster, I definitely would have liked to wrestle like I don't even know. I definitely would have liked to wrestle uh, probably like Dirty Dom. You know, I think
Ooh.
just because we're so similar in a way that
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
when I was going in there, that's kind of someone I kind of wanted to be like what Dom is doing now is freaking awesome. That's kind of similar approach that I
Yeah.
was kind of taking. So I think we were just two peas in a pod. But he's obviously, who he is, and he's doing a phenomenal job, and is doing 100 times better job than I would have done it on any given day. So I think wrestling him and just being like making not necessarily a wrestling match, but making it more entertainment wise, I think would have been really cool.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, definitely with his persona. I mean, it would definitely be great.
Right.
And I was actually going to tell you, you both do look kind of like each other. And
well, we're both San Diego kids. We're both Cali kids. We're both Chula Vista kids, 619 area, and he's actually a really good friend, and he supports us from afar. I got to talk to him very many times, and he's always one call away to, whenever I need something, he'll be there, and that's the same vice versa. But like, he's in his own lane right now, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for him, and for the heels and for La Raza and for Eddie Guerrero. Everything he's doing is for his father, the legacy. That man is a legend already in his own.
Yeah. And what is it like getting to represent the Mexican natives, you being Mexican, for everyone there, getting to show them what, like a dream?
Right. I think it was, like I said, when I was in that video with Triple H, it was a platform and a stepping stone that not many of us Hispanics get to make it far unless you're like, breeded into that world, or you're born into that lucha libre world. And most of the guys that are in there now, that's their life. That's all they've known, or family legacy in their family tree, opposed to someone like me who didn't come from a wrestling background. Instead, I came from a Mexican American household with just from nothing, and just a testament to hard work and dedication. A little different approach. And that's something that a lot of Mexicans back home don't really realize, that if you really do put the work in, you can really get to platforms like these on your own. You just got to believe. I was never the biggest, fastest, strongest, most athletic kid. I was a really skinny and really goofy kid growing up, and I got bullied like crazy. I was a theater kid from like freshman year, eighth grade to my first year of college. You know what I mean? I was never this big, good looking, and people stereotype me as this jock. That's never been me. I'm always been a kid in a big body, and most of all, I've always been Hispanic. And I come from a single mom household, like as the oldest brother, so I get how tough it can be, and people having limited mindsets to be like, I'm not capable of this, and I can't make it there. It's hard. But like, I think I'm a walking example that if you just put your head down, work, and believe, whether you are so focused on one thing, different lanes will open because of that work that you put into that one thing.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah. How was it for you getting to keep your real name as your WWE wrestling name, Kevin Ventura Cortes? Was there ever talks of changing your name, or because I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because when I first came in, I came in with so many ideas. I was going to be a pirate. I was going to be this, Prince Caspian. I was going to be all these kind of things. So I started buying into the character role because I couldn't wrestle. I was injured. And at one point, behind the scenes, I don't know if this is kayfabe, whatever, but I was managing Lola at one point, Lola Vice. So I was going to be paired up with her. So I got to practice promos, right? And I was just like this Miami, gangster, but you know what I mean? But like I was playing with that, but at the end of the day, I ended up going with the PC knows me as Suave. And I was this sleazy dirtbag, slick, like
yeah,
like lady womanizer, and I would come behind the scenes and laugh at your face, and like, I always had this like evil cartoon laugh, like, and I would like, backstab people, make these deals, and then like cut people short. But would still be like, when it comes to the fight, I would run away and be frantic and get an ass kicked.
right.
So, but people know me that it was like Chico Suave. They call me Chico or they call me Suave. So that was kind of cool. I will always have those memories with my people there.
Now saying that, I mean, that would have been a great storyline. You being the manager of Lola Vice, I mean, it would fit perfectly. So.
But everything happens for a reason, man. And like all these people in their own lane are doing great. I support, like I said. Who knows? Maybe one day I go back to it, maybe not. There's always opportunities depending how the body feels rejuvenated. You never know. The doors are never closed, indie wise. If even one day it comes back to me, it'll come back to me. But as of now, it's like I can give insight and help other people who do have that dream. Just being that small time of being inside is still very useful for people who don't have that knowledge.
Yeah. So, talking about your release, you got released from WWE in late 2023, specifically in September. So, what was your reaction to getting the call saying you were done with WWE, and did you see it coming?
I would say it was one of the most like gut-wrenching and heartbreaking news to get, I would say, for many reasons. I think being in that environment, it can get very toxic, or you can quickly get very insecure when you feel like you're not being noticed or other people are being put ahead of you or you're falling in ranks. So you're always on edge, just trying to climb the leaderboards or trying to get pushed on television or just trying to get a momentum, because you never know when your name's going to come. When they can release the best, the legends, you just never know when that's going to come. So I would say in the back of my mind, I always was prepared for that phone call, but you will never be prepared for when it does come. But when I got it, it was a shock to me, but also I was like, I was naive, to say like, oh, this wasn't my dream, you know what I mean? But it hurts. It hurts your feelings, It's like the girl you're falling in love for, she like breaks your heart, out of nowhere and decides to go a different direction with another guy. So it sucks. It hurts. It hurts a lot. But it took me a while to get out of that funk, because not only was it a closed door with wrestling, but was also a closed door for my football career. So everything had come to an end where I got to live a little bit of ego. I got to live a little bit of a different, larger than life mentality. And then it kind of just to get redirected and hit rock bottom. It was it was definitely a lesson in its own. You know what I mean?
Of course. I mean, it can take time to take that and just, heal from it and everything. So were you at like all the shows every Tuesday, and was there a reason why WWE didn't use you a lot?
Yeah, we as talent, we had to be at every show, especially being green and being new. We had to be at every Coconut show. So we were traveling every other weekend, and we had to be at TV tapings on Tuesdays. The reason why they didn't use us, you just never know. It's always up to the producers, up to the business, up to the HR organization, what creative team, what storylines, what they got for people, who's there, who's not, how advanced you are in your wrestling, how confident they are, and so many different factors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you do get your moment and you do get your chance, you don't want to mess it up. You know what I mean? You want to give it your all and give the performance of your lifetime, because you never know when it's going to be your last. So
yeah,
you always have to fight for that time, because even if you have a match, where you're at on the card or where you're at in your career, it's not just getting TV time. It's like how much time you have in a match, how much time they're going to give you. It could be a 2-minute match. It could be a 10-minute match. It could be a 20-minute match. You never know. So you want to make sure it counts and you get more and more time, as it progresses. Like the more relevant you are and the more you can connect with the people and the audience in the WWE universe, the more it's kind of like a job security blanket. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm safe. You can't touch me.
Yeah.
But if you're on the other side, you're like, oh damn, I'm at jeopardy right now.
Yeah, right. Is there any stories of like a backstage segment that you did other than the Chase U one? Because we'll get to that one a little bit later. But is there any like other segments that you did backstage that were on TV that you could tell about?
Man, my memory is very shot. I know I was on a lot of behind the scenes of Chase U. I know the main one you're speaking of, I got to be the main character, which was really cool. There was one where I was with sexy BJ Ray, and we were being this womanizer, sleep bags, and we went up to Thea Hale and JC Jane, and we're like, what's up, ladies? What's going on? How was your weekend? Making fun of Thea, and, we got our ass beat. That was just kind of that was kind of theme. It's Kev and BJ Ray get their ass beat. These jocks, wannabes, pretty boys, Snapchat, sleazy dirtbags. They're always gonna get their ass beat.
Yep. Definitely. And BJ Ray is a character. I mean, he's something. Seeing him now, I mean, on LFG, it's something.
Yeah, he's that dude is awesome, man. The cool thing is that since the moment he came in, he has never changed. He has always stuck to that, and he does it with such confidence that it's so you can buy into that. And the really cool part of it too, he's from Orange County, and we didn't know each other directly, but we had like oh, I know your vibe, bro. I know where we're from, and we instantly had that connection. So if I were to go back and do it again, that's probably someone I would definitely team up with, just based on character personas and where we're from. You know what I mean? It would just be like an instant, oh, fuck these guys. You know what I mean? So shout out to him too. That dude is awesome, man. He's a good human being, and he's got a big heart. And, it takes a lot of balls to do what he's doing and going in all the way and buying into
definitely
whole heel,
Mm-hmm. Do you wish you could have done more in the WWE, or do you think what you did was enough and, full circle?
Oh, absolutely, man. There's always room for improvement. I think I never reached my surface. I never reached my top potential. I had so much, I believe, in my opinion, and I think others would say the same, is that I had so much potential to be such a good superstar. But I would say, reflecting now and looking back, I definitely self-sabotaged a lot of it, just getting in my own way. When it could have been not easy, I would say, let me take that back. It would have been an easier, golden road if I would have stuck to the game plan, had bought in and done the things the right way, other than me trying to put my own barriers along the way. You know what I mean? And then I would say, going back to that comment, I would not be a character as much. I'd be Kev, not this suave sleaze bag. You know what I mean? Because that was a poor representation of what I truly stand for. You know what I mean? Who I am as a person. So I think if I were to ever go back, or if I ever got to do it again, it would definitely be as Kev. And then let that be the story, not suave and, not have this fake accent and you know what I mean? It just be parts of me that's real. Because real is real and fake is fake, and people know that, whether it's entertainment or not.
Yeah. put the acting aside and just be your true self.
Right.
Show everybody who you really are.
Right. Correct.
What would you say a weakness and then a strength of yours was in the wrestling business?
Weakness, definitely not being flexible. I was probably one of the only ones that could not keep up. You know what I mean? With my hips and my back, that was definitely an insecurity of mine, and I can openly say that because I ain't doing it no more right now. But definitely something I would like to, once I'm able to do it, be like, boom, I told you, just give me some time. But I would definitely say one of my weaknesses was definitely like the wrestling part for me was just being as flexible as a lot of my peers and competitors. But I think one of the strengths that made me stand apart was the charisma and the ability to bring people in, no matter what I was doing, whether I was speaking, whether I was getting ass beating, or whatever it may have been. I had the ability to connect, and I had the ability to like just put on a show that was entertaining for people to be like, there's something right there with that guy, even like, that guy's got something. But like the wrestling part for me was like, I would rather take the ass beating and sell than hurt somebody else. You know what I mean? Because I was green. I was definitely green and wasn't doing it for long.
Yep, definitely. Do you currently watch WWE still or any wrestling? Do you take your free time and watch that after being released? I mean, I know you're really busy with the other stuff you do, but do you ever get free time to sit down and watch it ever?
Yeah, I definitely keep up because like I said, my people, my competitors, my peers are in there. So I like to follow up, see how they're doing here and there. There's the academy out in Minnesota with Ken Anderson, Mr. Kennedy. Shout out to them. So they're really cool. And where those people come out of that academy, I like to follow, especially my boy Tyler. They call him Rampage Santana and JDX. They're really cool indie scene individuals.
Met both of them.
They're awesome. Those are one of my two closest friends that I got the privilege to work under when I was first starting. So they got to train me a little bit, got to break me in, and show me the ways. And those guys still get after it. So just to know where they're at and where they want to be and what they do it for is kind of awesome to see because they strive for WWE and they strive for AEW and to be on these big carpet scenes. But like for them, they're doing the work that no one sees, and they still put on a show, whether it's for like 10, 15 kids, schools, local schools and communities, or travel in the middle of nowhere to fulfill a dream. So those two dudes are awesome. And, any opportunity they get, they are more than deserving, So I like to definitely keep up with them, try to check them out, see how they're doing, see if they get a push. So there's a lot of people out there that I like to just watch, and maybe one day it'll inspire me to want to get back in the ring. But as of now, I'm just a supporter,
Of course, yeah. Talking about the Kennedy's training center, my friend actually trains there because we live in Wisconsin, so Minnesota's like right next. And me wanting to become a wrestler, that's somewhere that I've been possibly thinking of maybe training is Mr. Kennedy, because Tiffany Stratton came out of there, all like some other great names, Greg Gagne, didn't come out of there, but who?
Gable Stevenson.
Yep, that's correct.
And Mr. Kennedy is the man. If you're looking at schools, that man is the man because he still goes, he still wrestles, and every day he shows up with passion. And he's got two little ones. You know what I mean? So he works his ass off every day, and he shows up for these people that have a dream. And he sells them in the right traditional ways that's completely aligned with WWE morals and WWE protocol. You know what I mean? So it's not like, hey, I'm preparing you for indie scene. Nope. I'm preparing you exactly that if you have the chance to go to WWE, you're ready to go, and this is it. And I would say a lot of my success and my tryouts and what I knew behind the scenes already going in was an attest to his knowledge, his wisdom, and his guidance. That man, and he still supports me. He supported me before, during, and after. So he's a real genuine teacher, and he knows his stuff.
Most definitely. Did he help you train at all, or like who were your main trainers?
Oh, absolutely. Him, Definitely him. And then it was all through the academy, You know what I mean? So I think there's a local show called Ironheart run by Caitlin.
Yeah.
Very awesome people. So they got to train me. But definitely Mr. Kennedy and Rampage and JDX were the main guys that I got to work around with and wrestle and learn from for my tryout.
Nice. And you're talking about Caitlin Diamond, correct?
Caitlin Diamond.
Yeah, there we go.
Awesome. She was my fun fact. She was my first ever chop. She gave me my first ever chop, and it was a good one. It was a good one. It prepared me for Gunther's ass beating for 30 minutes.
I bet. Yeah, I met all three of them, Rampage, JDX, and Caitlin, at a show in Minnesota for MAW. You probably heard of them up in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. It was for Caitlin's last retirement match. It was Grand Slam with all big names there, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, man. Those are definitely a good group of people to surround yourself with, for sure.
Definitely. What was Triple H and Shawn Michaels like to work with, like just backstage, like knowing them on screen, but what was it like being with them backstage and just knowing them?
Believe it or not, I didn't have a lot of time with them. They're so busy in their own world and, producing the whole entire show and delegating and managing people. Like, you don't get one-on-one time with them. Could be like, hey, boss, like, what you think of this? Like, especially when you're new like me and you're green, they don't know who you are to like the degree that your coaches know you. You know what I mean? And oftentimes more than not, they have, they have their big card names that they handle with or that they produce. But like oftentimes than not, you won't get to hear from them much unless you really did maybe something wrong or you did something really, really good. So you definitely want to be on the better side of things with them instead of the other end.
Of course. Yeah. Was there a specific person who mainly produced your matches?
Not really. It was definitely a diverse mix of people, of individuals and coaches that were at the PC. AJ Winkler was one of them. I had Norman Smiley. He did mainly the girls, but I had Coach Robbie. Yeah, it just all depended on who was there. Definitely, my main instructor was AJ Winkler.
Nice. Mm-hmm. So you got to work for all three brands, NXT, SmackDown, and Raw, if I was correct. Which one did you like performing for better? Like, which one did you feel just...
They're all levels. They're all levels to it and the magnitude of what it was. And obviously, I didn't get to do it as like the big name or got to get the full experience. But I would say like the biggest part that I got to take away was just being around NXT so much, just because that's where it all started. NXT is where you begin. NXT is where you build relationships with people, and then everything after that is just a bonus and an add-on and something that like you get to create for yourself. But NXT is where like you make or break. You know what I mean? So I think NXT was really cool because I got to witness a lot of people when they first started out to where they're at now, and it's like such an awesome experience to witness that. You know what I mean? It's just like, man, you can't help but be happy for them because you know them as a person, you know them as a wrestler, and you know them as like their adversity and then their success.
Definitely. So you got to basically grow up with them in the wrestling business backstage. Right. So you know them more than the main roster because you were there for like one time and,
Right. And it's cool because like I got to spend a lot of time with the wrestlers outside of the PC, but it's like you're spending all your days and all your time with these people, you know what I mean? So you kind of don't have a choice but to get to know them. And it's like one day you could be out and about one night, but then have work the next day and training, you know what I mean? So you're with them dang near 24/7 of the days until you fall asleep.
Right. And SmackDown, what did you do on SmackDown specifically? Because
I don't remember SmackDown as much. I think it was just I did Raw for that one match. NXT, a lot of next behind the scenes. It was more a lot of the behind the scenes TV, actually being an extra.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I never got to wrestle on SmackDown.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And what were like the fans like? I mean, I bet like you go somewhere and there were like a lot of fans.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I think it was really cool because I had built fans from my tryout that people knew my story, or, you know, being on social media, it's such a cool, it could be like a make or break as well. And social media was cool because they treated me well. So people knew who I was already. So people would come up to me, ask to take pictures, and sometimes, like, us being green and being new, we had to work security. So like you got to interact with fans, and they're like, you know what? They're like, you're a security now, but you're gonna be a superstar someday. I can see it already. I already know you're gonna make it, dude. You got this. So it was very encouraging to know that the WWE universe has some of the most unique and special fans in the world. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So it was cool because you got to interact with so many people from different walks of life. Even when you're not on the match, like, you get to walk around and people notice you, or they you know, they validate you. So it's really cool.
Yeah. Do you still get recognized today? I mean, you look a lot different without the hair, and like people that you go to public speak for, and like the football teams that you coach for and everything. Does anybody recognize you from that time?
It's a hit or miss. Just because I don't carry myself as like, oh, I'm this big wrestler still. I'm just
Right.
Kev, I'm just me. And the cool thing is like I get to share that story. They're like, oh, whoa, this dude was a football player and a wrestler. So when you get to share that experience, they're like, oh man, I can see that. Or, oh, whoa, they go look you up. They're like, what? You did that? Like, yeah, man, like, it was sick. But it's
Right.
I speak in public, it's like it's that platform. It's like something that a lot of people can do, and it's like a metaphor. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many doors that people will never know about unless you put yourself out there. You know what I mean?
Of course. What was it like getting to be part of the NXT North American Championship #1 Contender Battle Royale? Getting the chance, getting put into being a #1 contender for that title.
It was short lived. You know, you don't like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, there was definitely a Rumble match where I got out the apron and I wasn't supposed to be eliminated as soon as I did. But it happens, man. So it's like I said, everything's an experience, but just to be considered and just to be
Mm-hmm.
able to go do that and put on a show and entertain, but also get the opportunity to someday be a contender. It's like, it's really cool because the dream is not to just be the North American title champion holder, but it's to also one day headline WrestleMania. That's what you're there for. You know, it's cool to get these titles and get these wins and these accolades. It's awesome. And you want to work,
Yeah.
no doubt. But like, the goal and the dream for every single person in that they always told us was like, hey, this is cool, but the dream is to headline WrestleMania. That's when
Yeah.
everybody watches. That's what will show a testament to who you are and your hard work. That is the goal. That's the dream. That's the vision.
Definitely. And that's everyone's dream, you know?
Right.
So, are there any dark matches that you had on WWE that nobody knows about?
That's probably a couple coconut shows. You know what I mean? That's a couple things that I got to do. Definitely
Yeah.
was on a couple Rumbles. Been more of those than not. So a couple Rumbles I got to do was really cool because I got to go and wrestle a lot of my boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which was cool. Like Zion Quinn, he was able to lead me through a lot of my matches, and he was one of my close best friends also that taught me a lot. And you know, at glance, you think that dude's aggressive. You think that dude is intimidating, but he's such a like humble sweetheart. You know, as from a man to say that,
Yeah.
like, he's such a gentle giant that like he takes away insecurities from you because he's so passionate for other people and so kind and compassionate. You're like, man, why wouldn't you want a guy like this and be in the ring with a guy like that? You know what I mean? That guy is going to take care of you and make you look good at the end of the day while still doing his thing. So I got to do Rumbles with guys like that. You know what I mean? Or like Bronco Nima. Those dudes are awesome, man. Like, I got to go in there and give it my all, get my ass beat here and there, but also like be able to rumble. So I did a lot of dark matches and tag teams. It was cool.
Definitely. Definitely, because I know NXT has like a lot of live shows that
Right.
they do here and there. So that's where like a lot of the, I don't want to say not used talent, but I don't know what else to call them, but like
Just green talent,
yeah, green talent, yeah,
up and coming more. It's like reps. It's like reps. If you think about an athletic
yeah,
standpoint, it's like reps for us. But
hmm
also being able to maintain storylines as well. For people who maybe missed the TV premiere or a show or whatever
hmm
it is, it's like a refresher and being able to bring it to communities in town. So it was cool live shows.
definitely. Now to get to that Chase U segment thing. So you worked a show on NXT on November 22nd, 2022, and you went under the name Mario for the episode. What was it like doing that, and how did that come to full circle doing that segment and you being the one?
So, like I said, you never know. Creative team, they have an idea for you or who you are and your personality, and they just said, "Hey, you're gonna be the guy. What name do you want to use?" And Mario was my choice. Mario is my brother's name, my real brother's name. So I was like, if I'm
Okay.
gonna get my ass chewed out, I'm gonna go under my brother so I could go back and be like, "Look, Mario, get your stuff straight because this was going to happen." So that was a cool full circle moment for me too. Is like they got to consider me, and it was like one of the first times I got to be on TV as me and show my look, see how I would look on TV. But then it's like I got to share a moment with my brother where I just got to honor his name. You know what I mean? And like now you can't ever take that away. So like everything I did,
Definitely.
like bits that I did, I always try to incorporate. As you can tell, like I'm a big feely person, so I always try to incorporate my family members or people that I love or things that I love, which is so ironic because when I was there, I was doing the complete opposite and buying into a character that wasn't me, you know?
Definitely. Yeah. Getting to be the main character, doing all that and everything. So,
Right.
like you said, being you, it's just pretty cool.
Yes, sir.
So, getting into like the thing that you do, behavior specialist and everything like that, what does it mean to you getting to work with special needs and everything? And as a behavior specialist, where you run your own nonprofit, where you give kids a platform for opportunities like sports and everything like that.
It means the world. It means everything. It means to me, and this is the biggest way I can show representation of what it means is being a lighthouse in vast waters.
Mm-hmm.
Like in vast waters, the ocean can get very dark. People can be lost. Many different tides, different energies throughout the day. But the lighthouse never changes, and it's a guidance. It's like a pillar to guide people in the right direction, inspire, make an impact. The lighthouse is all around a light. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I strive to be, is to be that inspiration and be that foundation for people like that, and especially for the youth, especially from my own upbringing, not having my dad. It kind of empowers me to be that fatherly figure, but also being a best friend, an older brother, whatever these kids see me as, but giving them the platforms and the exposure that I had to work so hard to get, that I'm able to now give. A lot of kids don't understand that now because, it's a different
Yeah.
generation. But just the fact that they're getting this platform and being a first-year nonprofit, we've had major success that's going to carry on. And we built that foundation for like years to come. And then working
Yeah.
with special needs on the back end of that, I'm a director for special needs and recreation. So I get to work with members of all ages. And the really cool thing for me is that because I run a nonprofit with the youth and I'm a special needs director, now I'm able to bridge the gap where special needs members will be able to run my nonprofit events for the youth. And now you made this universal bridge to bridge the two. And then to bridge the two, it's a representation of me and who I am and what I want to become.
Awesome. Yeah. And also, you also get to teach football.
Football, yes, you can never take that away from me.
Yeah. I mean, first being a football player and now getting into teaching the younger generation into getting into football, how does that feel?
It's rewarding because I never had an initial teacher. I did it because my freshman year of high school, I didn't make the soccer team. I got cut. I was just this scrawny kid. I'm like, dang, I got to fit in somewhere. I got to do something. And like football, you don't really get cut unless you really don't know what you're doing. And for grace of God, they put me on the team, and being able to see other people flourish in the sport, it kind of fueled me. And
Yeah.
I got picked on by coaches, I got bullied, and like I transferred schools. And as the years went on, I just got hungry and hungry to prove everybody wrong. That was always my thing. It was like a chip on the shoulder. Watch me, watch what I become, watch what I do. And football was that outlet for me that I was able to bring to fruition. So when when I was able to achieve everything that I did, the journey was the most rewarding part of the outcome of just being able to play college football. Like I got to make it to the highest level possible on scholarship, which was like dope. But like I did all the work behind the scenes, and that to me was my favorite moments. I got to train, I got to meet new trainers, I got to learn new techniques, and then I got to put it on the field. So then being able to be that right away for these kids is like rewarding, because it's like, man, I see your potential, I see you, I see what you're going through as a human being, and I see you as a football player and what you can become and what you are. And to me, seeing the growth is so awesome because it's development. And so a lot of my kids, when I see from when they first came in to where they end, oh my God, it is the most insane reward. And it's just like, I had a hand on that. I got to do that.
Uh-huh.
I won't take all the credit, of course, but it's like, I got to do something like that for these kids. And like down the road, they'll be like, Coach Kev really helped me out a lot. So I'm like, that to me is like when they get older, they'll be able to look back and be like, Coach Kev, thank you. And they do that now. So don't get me wrong. But like being able to be like, Coach Kev played a part in my role in my life and my development, that to me is like, yes. Even if it's one kid, if I'm able to change a life, that to me is fulfilling in what I do in my line of work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One day they're going to be in NFL and they're going to be like, oh, I remember my trainer, Kevin, he was like just the best.
Right. Hey, man, you got to take what you can get sometimes. And I hope all my kids make it someday, but, reality of it is that like not everyone's going to make it. But like what you can take away is your growth, your development, and then giving it back to your kids someday, or you becoming a coach someday, or finding a purpose in life. So say football doesn't work out, maybe they become WWE superstars, or maybe they go become teacher, whatever it may be. Because they work so hard and they believe into who they are, now they're so confident to walk in life in any door that they want to get through. That to me is like pretty dang awesome.
Of course. Is there ever a chance that you might get back into football yourself and start doing that again?
Probably not. Football wise, no, I won't get back into the football realm of things. Just I'm a little bit older now. My body doesn't move the same. You've been out of it for so long, especially after wrestling. Yeah, man. I think once there's no need to force something that was once was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that goes with anything, even like relationships. Like you take what you learn from that and you move on and you put it into other areas in your life. So like football did a lot for me, man. Like even just to be in the WWE, it wasn't because that was something I believed that I was going to do. It was because I worked so hard in football, and that was something that I put my passion to, that it was able to open another door for me. So, and now like I got both platforms, and that's kind of, if you remember the video with Triple H, that's the first thing I said. I have the platform now, and that's exactly what I'm using it for, is to make that and to help other people.
Definitely. Do you have any advice or motivational towards your younger self that you would tell yourself sorry. Do you have anything motivational towards yourself now?
Like my younger self, you mean?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, to my younger self. If I was an adult and I would face to my younger self, I definitely would show him more grace and give him more love, because I never did that. I just molded myself to become someone that my younger self probably wouldn't recognize and be intimidated by. You know what I mean? So I would definitely tell my younger self that it's okay. Like, it's okay. Like where you're at right now is not where you're going to end up at. Like where you're at is not the finish line. It's only the beginning. So I would tell my younger self to just know it's okay. Because a lot of times we put these outside noises and these pressures that are not realistic into our lives to measure up to something else, to somebody else, because we want to be validated in this world. You know what I mean? We crave to be validated by society and whatever it is we do. And I would just tell myself is just stay true to you and watch what happens. You know what I mean? And to know that no matter what you do, if wrestler or not, football player or not, it's gonna be okay because there's a place in this world for us that God is here. God is here, and He's got a place for us. It's up to us to know what we do with that place.
Definitely, I agree. Who would you personally put in your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers?
How many did I get? Is that 4 or 5?
4.
4. Oh, that's good. That is good. If I'm being a fanboy, or am I being like based off technique? What are we talking here?
Let's just go fan.
Fanboy. Jeff Hardy is definitely number 1. Jeff Hardy was always one of my. I love Jeff Hardy, man. That dude is captivating. I love Eddie Guerrero, of course. Eddie Guerrero, Viva la Raza. You got to represent. That dude was amazing. I got to put Randy Orton up there. I got to put definitely Younger Rock. Younger Rock was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Younger Rock was awesome. I definitely try to take some of their, promo work into my personalities. And then let's see. One more, right? I would do. That's a good question. I'll put Oro Menza up there just because that's my boy. He can get.
All right.
He's that dude. I look up to that dude. He can, if he ever sees this and comes back to this, I love that guy. So just so you know, that's my boy. I'll give him a spot.
Of course. If you could have traveled anywhere in the world for anything, now or for like a wrestling event, where would you want to go?
Ooh. I definitely want to go somewhere like a jungle. I want to go somewhere where I could do like a cruise. I want to go somewhere that's like I could go on a ride dune buggies through the forest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So definitely something like that would be kind of cool. So.
Yeah.
1 sec.
No worries.
Okay. See what happens in the day of the life. Sometimes you never know.
Right.
Yeah. So that was one of, as you can see, that's one of my members right there. So I get to be around them nonstop. So I get to, when I'm working, when I'm not working, I get to just be in a place in my life where I get to be with them. But if I got to travel, I definitely say like Costa Rica or something. You know what I mean? I want to.
Yeah.
Part of me, I want to see like a black jaguar face to face.
Oh yeah.
I think that'd be an awesome experience for me. So like Costa Rica would be really cool, or like somewhere in Mexico City. I want to definitely explore like my heritage and where I'm from. So I want to go somewhere that's like Aztec related and get to see where I came from and my ancestors. I never got to do a lot of traveling growing up just because I had sports and being in the WWE, you're kind of confined to what's available.
Yeah.
I got to travel around Florida, which was cool, and I got to travel like when it came to competitions, but I didn't go to explore. I went because there was a purpose behind it,
Definitely. Yeah. If you could have a segment or match with any actor, who would that be?
Actor?
Yeah.
I like Jim Carrey, Will Ferrell. A Jim Carrey, definitely a Jim Carrey. That's definitely like my alter ego is like a Jim Carrey personality. Definitely like a Will Ferrell. That dude is like, I love that dude. Definitely, I don't know why. Like Kevin Hart is just so charismatic. I would say, who else is out there that I really like? I like Antonio Banderas only because when I was becoming Suave, I did a lot of his voice impersonations and like Puss in Boots, Zorro kind of vibe. That's kind of someone that I was like looking up to when I had needed inspiration, you know. But
Yeah.
definitely number one overall would definitely be like a Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey would be awesome.
Oh yeah, that would make a great segment. Definitely with his comical side of things.
Right.
Definitely. I mean, with all the movies he played, he'd be just beyond great on that. Also,
Right.
Kevin Hart. I mean, that'd be great too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you could make an entrance to the ring with any animal, what animal would that be?
Ooh. I thought about it because I wanted to be different. I wanted to ask when I first went in. I was like, can I come in on like a white horse or something, a stallion? Like I'm riding a stallion or something, you know what I mean? But obviously they're not going to let me do something like that. But we take the horse away. I would definitely want to come in with like jaguars by my side or something. You know? And if that's too much and it's too big, give me a little capuchin monkey right here. You know what I mean? Just a little sidekick capuchin monkey.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Scott Steiner came out with the tiger in TNA.
That's what I'm saying. You never know. Never say never.
Yeah. The monkey would work perfect because there was Coco Beware with a parrot. There was Jake with a snake.
Right.
I mean,
a little capuchin monkey would be really cool. You know, comes interferes in the match. That'd be so dope.
Yeah. Jumps off the top rope, starts getting on the opponent's face.
Right. Give him a little people's elbow or something.
Yeah. That would distract the opponent, you behind them, go for your move or something, and then finish the match.
Or if I'm really going through a submission, about to tap out, you know, I need it, he'll ring the bell for me. You know, they're good with tools, so they'll ring the bell.
There we go, yeah. I mean, monkeys are beyond smart, so.
Right.
What has been like your favorite wrestling entrance music of all time?
Ooh. Probably Jeff Hardy's was one of them, and then Randy Orton. Can't go wrong with those two. Actually, like even like Roman Reigns, there's like not much to it, but it's like it's cinematic, man. Like when Roman Reigns' aura and his presence, you just know there's no one else like him. So yeah, I like people that command a room, or I like energy. I'm big on energy and like something that like it gets you off your seat. Like you know who's coming.
Of course. Yeah, like there's a lot of themes like they hit and you know who it is, like Stone Cold or John Cena. I mean, definitely if they're like back from like the olden days coming to wrestling now, you definitely know who they are.
Right. For sure.
Mm-hmm. If back in the day, like during your time in WWE, if you got told you couldn't medically wrestle during that time, what would you do?
Well, that did happen. That happened to me when I first came in. They told me I wasn't going to be able to wrestle. That I should probably turn around, pack my bags, and go home. That is done, because they wanted to cut me up and get surgery, and there was no guarantee I'd come back the same. So I did what I always do. I put my faith in God. I put my head down, go to work, and I just said, all right, we can get this back if I just like rehab. It may take time, but you know, we made it happen. And I think like the biggest theme and you know, like the biggest word that represents me as an entity and everything that I've done in my life and all my journey is the word resilience. You can tell me no a million times, but you're going to see, and I'm going to make you believe. And if you don't believe me now, you're going to see. Like you have no choice but to see and no choice but to believe. You know what I mean? So that's like the biggest like thing about my life is like when you tell me no or you doubt me or you don't believe in me, I'm going to sure as hell make you eat your damn words and show you that I'm resilient and I'm going to make it happen. You know, however long it lasts, but I'm going to make you see me. And if you don't see me, you're going to see me. Like I promise you.
Right there, yeah. Which wrestler has given you the best advice and or compliment?
Like a lot of people have given me some really good advice. You know, I got to meet some
Mm-hmm.
cool legends. I got to meet guys like Dragon Lee, you know, cool people, Mexican wrestlers, even Callisto and people like that that came and guest taught us. So those guys gave great advice. But like, I'd say the biggest life lessons that I learned from the wrestling rink was guys like Oro Menza and Ilya Dragunov, because those are guys that started from the bottom and worked their way through a form of art. And
Yeah.
you know, they're both very distinctive human beings in terms of wrestling world. And one being, you know, one being more on a prestige pedestal, while the other one has to crawl for, you know, TV time and getting seen. But they're both equally on the same wavelengths of understanding of life and understanding of what wrestling really is. So both of them
Yeah.
were able to, like I said, they call me delusional. So they have both brought me back to reality and, you know, humbled my ass in many different forms, in many different ways. So both in wrestling and in life, I attest a lot of my experience in Orlando and my short time in the WWE to those two dudes. And
Definitely.
shout out to Oro Menza's wife. You know what I mean? She holds it down. People don't see the back end of the families that, you know, they're from Europe, you know, from Switzerland and stuff, and they sacrificed their entire life to come support a dream. And those
Yeah.
two, you know what I mean? Like that to me was like, man, like they're serious about this compared to someone like me that just got something handed to me, almost an opportunity, compared to those people who left their life back home to come fulfill a dream and fight for something that they believe in, and like to see them firsthand what they went through. I got to learn how to be humble in a way, but also be real with the way life treats us, you know, and just seeing them through
Yeah.
it. Like it was awesome, man.
Definitely, yeah. Seeing how he's come up and from like NXT UK to just, I mean, his career uplifted from there to what NXT did with him. I mean, because he was with Ashton Smith in NXT UK, he was a
Right.
tag team, and after releasing Ashton Smith, he probably was overwhelmed with, okay, now I have to do singles action,
Yeah.
and I mean, he did it, and what he did was incredible. So, you know,
Definitely, I would say he was someone that was, you know, underrated, overlooked. His style was very unique. That not many people could do what he did, and that's not me
yeah,
being biased. It's just like everything he did, it was just different. You know, he always found new ways to be different, and that's something I'm like, that's the people I want to be around. It's like you bring
yeah,
something to the table and be unique. Like you have your flair, I have my flair. Like, all my people have their own flares, and it's like there's no denying who we are individually, you know, and let alone as a collective.
definitely. If a movie was made about your career, who would you want to play you?
Probably like Antonio Banderas. That dude would be sick to watch. There's so much range.
Definitely.
But if I'm talking about humor wise, probably a guy like Jim Carrey.
Yeah, he can pull anything off. I mean, Jim Carrey. You see all the movies he's done, he could pull anything off.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
who's your favorite horror character and favorite horror movie if you have one?
Horror movie. Ooh, good question. I'm a big baby when it comes to those type of horror. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Mm, that's a tough question, man. Movies are tough for me because there's such a wide variety. I don't even remember the last horror movie that I just watched. If you tell me my like favorite movie of all time, I could answer that much better than the horror movie part.
all right, yeah, let's do that.
I'm a Pirates of the Caribbean kind. So if we go back to who can play me, I don't know how this went by my mind. I didn't mention it. Number one before Jim Carrey, Johnny Depp.
Mm,
Johnny Depp.
there we go.
Pirates of the
That would
Caribbean.
be good.
Because I was, believe it or not, when I did my tryout, I came out as like a Jack Sparrow. I did the Jack Sparrow run in front of Paul Heyman. And my inspiration was to be a pirate when I came into WWE.
Yep.
So Johnny Depp and Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, all-time favorite. No questions, no debate.
Oh, yeah, that would have been good right there. Would you rather be in a blindfolded match, handcuffed to your opponent, or a dog collar?
Whoa. Wait, all three? You're talking about either blindfolded, handcuffed, or in a dog collar?
Yeah, all three separate. Would you rather do each one?
What would the dog? You just wear a dog collar? You talking about?
Yeah, so a dog collar is where you have a dog collar around your neck, and then it has like a big chain onto your other opponent, and they are wearing a dog collar, and then you wrestle with that.
I definitely would say blindfolded. I think blindfolded would be kind of funny and kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because I'm already goofy as it is. So I think that would just accentuate my goofiness and put me on the bigger pedestal on a platform to show how truly goofy I am. And uncoordinated, I truly am.
There we go. That's a rare answer. I rarely get that, so that's awesome. A lot of people don't want to do the blindfolded match because you can't see.
Hey, you got to rely on your other senses. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, just the comical side of the blindfolded matches, too. I mean, I think it was Jake Roberts and Rick Martel. I could be wrong, but I think them two had a blindfolded match, and it was great.
See, I'm not afraid to make an ass of myself. I'm not afraid to embarrass myself. I'm afraid to not be real. You know what I mean? I'd rather be as real as it gets. And I think that's a vulnerable place that most people don't want to be seen. You know what I mean? So
definitely,
you get to, if I could be true, and that's one of those moments where I'm like, I am a goofy guy, and it's entertainment. And at the same time, it's like I'm not hiding from nothing. You know what I mean? And it comes down to what, not relying on somebody else, being tied with somebody else or handcuffed to somebody else. It's just it's me in my own free will, you know?
Yeah, of course. If you could come up with a wrestling quote for yourself, what would that quote insane be?
Ooh, quotes insane. What do you mean, like a catchphrase?
Yeah, there we go. There's the word. Yeah.
I always went with "These eyes never lie." That's something I always said because I can always see. I knew how to BS people. You know, I may tell you something, but I could snake you right down the eye. So these eyes never lied. That was my catchphrase.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather be part of DX, NWO, APA, or BWO?
I go with my people, man. You know what I'm saying? Come on. I go LWO all day. Viva la raza. There's no doubt.
Definitely. You would have fit well with them. Like, definitely with Dragon Lee because you were close with him, like you mentioned. And, I mean, definitely like your background as a Hispanic, it would definitely fit well with that.
Yeah, Dragon Lee is also like one of those people where you're just like, man, he's so unique and talented. But we're very distinctive body types and very different styles.
Yeah.
Plus, he's small, compact, and lucha libre, high flying. I'm like this tall, lengthy, you know, can be very rigid, you know, kind of guy. But it's like it complements each other.
Yeah. You would have also made possibly like a good manager for them, like a manager that also wrestles too, because you probably wouldn't want to just sit back and be just a manager. You probably would want to go show up and show out. So you would probably want to do both.
I think being a manager was definitely up my alley without a doubt. I think I'm very good on the mic. And, you know, with Hispanics, language barrier and enunciating words can be difficult at times. But with the public speaking background, it's natural to me. You know what I mean? And it's also like the theatrics and this, you know, being a freaking character or whatever it is, you know? So I think, and then being so tall already as it is, there's just levels to the dynamic that it could have been. So I would have definitely loved to. I would have loved to be their manager without a doubt.
Yeah. Because the height difference, definitely, too. So,
Mm-hmm.
so to start finishing off the interview, a couple more questions is, what is one thing you would tell your fans from the wrestling world and that have been following you throughout everything?
To my wrestling fans, I would say, thank you. Thank you for your support, love, encouragement, and believing in somebody you don't personally know. You know, it takes a lot of um, love from somebody to buy into something, and you wouldn't buy into something if you didn't see yourself in that person or you didn't see the potential of somebody. But if people have those aspirations to someday become a wrestler or someday get to meet people like that they look up to and meet their superheroes, I would tell them what I would tell to my younger self, that it's going to be okay, and one day those dreams may come true. When those dreams come true, what are you going to do with that, with your placement in life? You know what I mean? Are you a person that's going to work hard to make that happen for yourself? Or are you just going to be a victim of your own beliefs and circumstances to limit yourself? You know what I mean? So I would say, um, just keep being who they are and living a life of kindness and encouragement, and you know, being kind to your neighbors, because you never know who that neighbor might turn out to be. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Now, for the final question, the question I ask everybody is, do you have any advice for me to become a wrestler?
Oh, absolutely, man. Get started. If you haven't started, start now. You know what I mean? Why are you holding yourself back? Number two is like, surround yourself with people that are like-minded and that have the same aspirations. Any type of self-doubt or any type of self-insecurities or anything that is preventing you from putting yourself out there, I need you to write this down on a notebook. All the things that are stopping you in this very moment, whether it be finances, whether it be time, whether it be insecurities, whether it be I don't have gear, whatever excuse you can come up with, I need you to write it down and you throw it in the damn trash and you close it and you never open it again. Now we start going to work. Now we start going into things that are like, what can I do right now? What can I make happen right now? And if this is truly something that I align myself with and something I want to do. Because if this is something you want to do, is you're doing it because you love it and
Mm-hmm.
you're in alignment with it. Don't do it because you want to become something you're not. But if this is something you are, remember, it's not your identity. It's something that you love and are passionate for. So once you have that understanding, you'll make everything else happen despite whatever obstacle or barriers in your way. And then find people that are in the same boat as you, or find people that are experienced. For example, the academy. If you're thinking about going, go now. Go spend some time down there. Go for a week or two. Go for a couple of days. Hit them up and be like, hey, can I try you out? And find the place that sticks with you. And once you find that place, don't stop working.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do keep telling myself I have to start working out because I have a workout room in my basement, and I told myself that I want to start working out, but I never have. Yeah, it's just
Let me
now
ask you
I
why.
have work and stuff. What?
Why? Why haven't you started if it's there? It's easy as being in the basement. Why haven't you started? And it doesn't have to
Uh,
be. Let me ask you another question, or let me tell you another thing. It doesn't have to be a whole hour workout. If you spend 20 minutes down there, you know, doing some easy as some arm curls, you're doing 20 minutes that you didn't do yesterday. Or, you know, it's 20 minutes of your life that you're getting started with. And it's not going to be easy, man. Like sometimes people don't know where to start. The biggest way to start is here. Once you know, like, all right, I'm working out for a purpose, you know, or I'm starting to eat right with a purpose. And then those small wins, they build. They build. You know, when you do small wins, you're like, oh shoot, I could do this for a day. Let me try for a week. Oh, I did it for a week. I could do it for a month. Month turns into several months, into years, into several years, and now you little do you know you're an indie standout superstar with a WWE contract waiting for you.
yeah.
You don't know until you get those 20 minutes in arm curls, man.
Right.
And like this, like you just got to put yourself in a place where it's like, this is what I want to do. Stop with the self doubt, because I see your face that you want this, but man, like you have it in you already, bro. You already have that everything that you want to make happen. You just got to go and make it happen for yourself. And the moment you make that switch, you're gonna be like, All right. So next time I'm going to be interviewing you, asking you the question, hey, Blake, how did it feel to be in the Indies? WWE Superstar, how did it feel to have your WrestleMania moment? Remember when you interviewed me? Man, remember little old me? I'm going to be your fan right now. You know what I mean? I just became your fan. So you never know, brother. You just got to go do it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I thank you also for doing this and taking your time out to do this interview. It was a pleasure to have you on.
Yes, sir, Blake. All right, brother. Hey, you be safe. Just keep going, man. Shout out to you, dude. Keep your passions alive and keep dreaming big, bro. Because the moment you stop, that's when like you settle for like the bare minimum in life, and that's never fun. We want to always find ways to be kind and ways to self improve and get to those places where we want to go, man. And so I'm rooting for you, bro. So I hope to see you, in the indies here pretty soon or in the WWE world. Like, let's go make it happen. All right.
Yep, definitely. Is there anywhere people can find you, like on social media, where you want to plug your socials or anything?
Yeah, man. So honestly, I don't personally keep up with my social medias in my personal life anymore. Before it was a marketing tool, but if people would like to see my old post, it's at KVC Cortes 7. But I would encourage people that if you want to see what I do for the community and for the kids for my nonprofit, Project Vuelo is where it's at. That's where you'll see me being active. That's where you'll see my kids chasing the dream. That's where you'll see me working with special needs community. That's where I want to promote, not me as an individual. I want to promote the nonprofit and the kids. My life is simple, man. I'm just giving back, and I got to experience things that are already online. So if you want to look me up, just look my name up. It is what it is. But now it's Project Vuelo, brother. So if you guys want to find that out and look into it, that's where you'll find me.
All right, awesome. There you go, and thanks again, and I hope you have a good rest of your night.
You too, Blake. You be safe, brother.
Yeah, you too.
Peace.
Peace.